Hello and welcome to Vancouver's glorious Orpheum Theatre, the fourth theatre in the city to bear the name Orpheum. Hi, I'm Bill Ullman. I'm the president of the BC Entertainment Hall of Fame. We're in the Granville Street entrance of this grand old palace built in 1927. Now, the illusion here is that while the theatre looks huge and grand and majestic, there's only 25 feet of it built on Granville Street. And that's this entrance, which was enhanced with mirrors and lights and a high ceiling. So you felt like you were coming into the theatre with thousands of people. Most of the theatre is built back on Seymour Street, almost 3,000 seats, because Seymour Street was cheaper and the taxes on Seymour Street were cheaper.
And the Orpheum's celebrating a big anniversary because 50 years ago something big happened.
That's correct. 50 years ago, Famous Players, who by then owned the property, and they were a movie distribution and exhibition chain, Famous Players had decided that the economics of movie-going had changed. Theaters were no longer pulling in enough people to justify a single screen for almost 3,000 people. So they announced quite publicly that they were either going to turn the theater into a multiplex, so there'd have been 8 screens here, showing the latest Star Wars movie, or else they were going to flatten it all together. At that point, the citizenry of Vancouver stepped up and said, absolutely not, this is our theater, our gem. And eventually the City of Vancouver said, okay, that's it, we'll buy the property. I have visions of them walking in on purchase day in 1974, looking, going around, wow, we bought a theater, and it's a wreck. So they undertook a huge restoration of this entire building. The reason it's a gem now is because the city had the foresight to go ahead and really do a proper restoration. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
This is Tom Carter, board member of the BC Entertainment Hall of Fame and magnificent artist.
Okay, so the 1927 Wurlitzer, as Bill was saying, it's the last Wurlitzer that's in its original theater in all of Canada. So let's just say that we were going to accompany a silent film, Bill, sure. And there would be, say, a girl in her garden, like. And then, but something evil is brewing.
So when the Orpheum was originally built in 1927, many of the components were put together off-site, were carved off-site, like these seemingly and definitely solid stone columns, the handrails, the balustrades. These were carved from sandstone probably quarried on Gabriel Island on a lot a couple of blocks away from here and brought to the Orpheum by horse and buggy, because that's how you move things in those days. The Orpheum took about a year to complete. You couldn't put up a garage in the City of Vancouver now, just for the paperwork, in under a year. But these are nice and solid. As I've explained, the Orpheum architecture is fantastic, but it's a set. They're done by masterful craftsmen and architectural geniuses who knew how to build a great theater set. So here we are in the lower balcony of the Orpheum Theatre. And as you look around, you see screens that evoke Moorish and Baroque architecture. You see panels that are curved. You see a dome that is painted with the most beautiful mural. And you see a great grand chandelier that looks exactly like what they dropped on people in Phantom of the Opera. We don't drop this on anybody. It's too expensive. It's all Czech crystal. Looking up at the dome, which looks like a classic mural, probably done in the 20s. Is that what it looks like? Yeah, it was painted in 1974. So they got Tony Heinsbergen, who I think was in his 80s at that point, to consult on how to properly redecorate the entire room. And then Heinsbergen said, listen, that dome was always just gray. I really wanted to do a proper mural up there. Would you let me? And Merrick said, sure, we will. So Heinsbergen, I tell my audiences he lay on his back for 6 months, like the Sistine Chapel. He did not. He painted, I think it's 20 different canvas pieces in his studio in Los Angeles. They were affixed to the dome here. That sense of grandeur comes through, and the sense of history. This is by no means a museum. This is a living, working theater, and it's a place where you come to feel good. This is the roof above the theater seating area, above the house, as we call it. Watch this.
I can see the seats below.
That's right. We're standing right over top of the seating area. And what you see, this curved thing, is that beautifully ornate painted dome. that you saw from the seating area below. And everything is suspended by wires. The Orpheum, yes, is a glorious, grand piece of architecture. It's a set. That dome might be an inch thick with a little bit of canvas applied to it as well.
What is the magic of?
Wow. It's an emotional release for the audience. It's a connection, and that at the end of the day is the magic. It's that connection between artist, whether they're on celluloid or on stage, and audience that really does it for me.